BPS Custom's coverage of CES 2018 in Las Vegas is brought to you by Enermax and CableMod. Thank you to them for making our trip possible. Check out their links in the video description and make sure you're subscribed to the channel for all the latest hardware news from the year's biggest electronics expo.
What's up, guys? We are here at the Cooler Master Suite at CES 2018. We got Jamie working the camera, and we're here to check out some of their keyboards, which are over there, some of the cases, which are over there. So let's get to it. So we're going to start over here with some new cooling solutions. Now, Cooler Master is introducing several different new coolers. This one is going to be Threadripper specific, so this is actually just for the TR4 socket. This is the Master Liquid ML360. Right next to it, we have the Master Liquid. This one right here is the ML240R, but it also is going to come in a 120 millimeter variety. And then next to it, we have the variation on that, the Master Liquid ML240 Smart. Now, all of these are coming out around probably end of March. And the ones that are probably most mass market applicable would be the Master Liquid ML240R and the 240 Smart. Price points on these probably about 120 bucks to somewhere around 150 bucks. Not yet set, and those will be, more information on that will be coming soon. But you can see they do differentiate a little bit. There is a metal ring around the pump top and block, whereas this one is plastic. And then on the sides of the radiator as well, we have some adjustable RGB zones. And then right next to it, we have this UFO looking thing. This is the G100M. This will be $60 to $70, and you will see it pretty soon, probably end of January. Cooling capacity on this, I've been told, is somewhere around 150 watts, so this probably isn't for your extreme applications. This is more mainstream chips, but should just do just fine with Ryzen or Coffee Lake. As you can see, though, it does have a smaller fan, and I asked about noise with this. This is a 90 millimeter fan, which generally could spin a little faster and be a little louder, but they said they've tested it and it's comparable to a 120 millimeter fan. So it's more for aesthetics than anything else, but it does look pretty cool. And then sitting next to it is the Master Air MA410M. They've done a lot with the RGB on this. You can see right down into the middle of it. They've put a cut all the way down through the fin stack to make this very visually appealing, but it does come with push-pull, so you definitely should get some decent cooling here. This is a higher cooling capacity than the G100M, but the highest cooling capacity is actually going to be right over here in this non-illuminated system, so it is a little bit difficult to see. So this is the MA620p, and it's done in collaboration with ASUS. You can see the tough style digi-camo on the towers, but you will notice that there are actually two towers. So this is definitely going to be a very high cooling capacity product. Still same time frame, right? Same time frame, end of March. Any price on this just yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. So we'll find that information out a little bit more later on. Moving on to cases, we have the Q300L and the Q300P. Now the Q300L is obviously just pretty boxy looking, but it does come in at a price point of only about $40. It's a micro ATX enclosure, and it is primed for airflow with dust filters around all sides. Its brother, the Q300P, is a little more stylish. You can see it's got these handles. It comes with two RGB fans up front. It's got these acrylic front and top panels, so perhaps not as good on the airflow side, but definitely a little more visually appealing. This looks like it's designed to be something like a LAN box, something along those lines with the handles, and I did talk to them about the possibility of making the same kind of form factor with the handles into a micro ATX chassis, and they said, shush, that might be coming. So shh, 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 shh. But maybe we might see it soon. So the revision to the H500p has arrived. This is the H500p Mesh White. Now this does solve a lot of the problems that people had with the original design. First and foremost, you see the entire front is now mesh. Additionally, there is reinforcement behind this panel to make it sturdier, and also a little clip up top that when you press it in, it releases and knocks a piece of placard off the table, apparently. But this is how it releases, as opposed to just kind of flapping there. So if you try to move it without unclipping it, it doesn't move. And the same thing on the top panel. Top panel is reinforced with a screw on the back edge back there. So you could even actually pick it up by the top panel, even though they recommend not to do that. Another problem that I had with the original design was actually that the power supply had to go in underneath the shroud from this side right here. And I actually made a mistake when I was building in here where I put my loop together and then had to disassemble it to get the power supply in. Well, Cooler Master has listened to user feedback and they actually have made it so that you can put the power supply in from the back like a normal case now. So a lot of little improvements made here. This feels a lot sturdier. It has better airflow. It comes in white now. So, you know, I mean, they've listened and they've made changes, and hopefully this does a little bit better. On the peripheral side of things, they are introducing their new 800 series. So right off the bat, we have the MK850 and the MK851. Now, they look pretty similar. Well, what's the difference? The 851 actually has aim pad technology, so you can actually press a button, one of these keys up here. I have no hands free to demonstrate, I'm sorry. But it actually will activate aim pad on the WASD keys. Now, what exactly does that mean? What that means is that you can actually have different actuation levels instead of just a binary on-off actuation from the key. So say you're playing like a racing game or something along those lines, you could activate aim pad and then you could actually drive. Instead of just going full left, you go a little bit left. And that's the point of that. Now, they told me that the development of this is a long time in the works and was pretty difficult. So they're able to implement it with full mechanical cherry keys. This is only going to be available in reds, and then the 850 that comes without the aim pad technology, browns and blues. Another feature here is going to be these configurable rollers. Now, traditionally a roller would be volume and perhaps something else, but you will actually be able to map this to different functions. Cooler Master is going to have an ecosystem where you can address maybe the volume on your headset with one of these rollers, or perhaps some RGB functions or something along those lines. So a lot of that's still kind of up in the air, but these rollers will provide you different functionality, not just volume, when these finally launch. And that's probably going to be early Q3, the same thing along with the rest of the 800 line. Moving on in peripherals, we have the MM830 mouse. Now this is designed for MOBA and MMOs, but you see that there's no buttons along the side here. Usually the MMO and MOBA mouses are kind of loaded up with buttons. But there actually are. They're hidden underneath this panel, and you can see that there's little nubbins or something along those lines that actually act as a D-pad. Now, right now this is still kind of in prototype phase, so it's kind of hard to demo, but they're working on making this easy to press while not being super obvious that there are any additional buttons over here, just to keep the look pretty stealthy. It does fit the hand pretty well. The texture on the buttons feels really good too. The MM830 is sitting on the MP860 mouse pad. Now, I mean, RGB mouse pads have existed before, certainly, but the implementation here is nice. It does go basically all the way around with the exception of a very small spot up top. But the appeal of this mouse pad is not purely aesthetic. It has a decent functional value as well. You can see that this is a fabric side. When you flip it over, it is fully reversible into a hard surface. So depending on your preference, you could have either, and it comes with the same product. Launch window is about the same as the rest of the 800 series. And then lastly, we have the MH850 headset. Now, Cooler Master has certainly done headsets in the past, but this one is definitely a little different. Depending on what you like as far as your soundstage goes, if you want a wide soundstage or a shallow one, you can actually adjust that with a physical switch on the side of the ear cups. Now, each ear cup has to be done separately because when you flip this switch, which is definitely hard to do with one hand, you actually create a physical change inside the ear cup that blocks off some of the sound from the outside or lets it in, depending on if you want wide or not. These are still in prototype right now, so not a lot on this is final, but I've been told that the headband is going to look similar. It's going to have a detachable microphone, just like this one. This is just comes with a standard 1/8 inch plug, and the ear cups are nice and plush and pretty comfortable. Cooler Master is also bringing to market a full RGB ecosystem that coordinates with what is displayed on your computer screen. It aggregates all the colors on the screen at any given time and duplicates the color amalgam in your case fans, keyboard, mouse, headset, and any number of connected devices. You can even see these LED wall tiles falling in sync with this demo. It's done to create a totally immersive room scale experience and encourages people to maintain brand continuity between their components. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any close-up shots of the
H500M case, pictured here as there was an unfortunate glass shattering incident shortly after this demo was shot. But it should be coming to market end of Q2 with an MSRP around $200. It has glass panels on 4 sides now as opposed to just 1, and includes broader mesh panels for airflow, addressable 200mm RGB fans, and a controller.
So that's a wrap from the Cooler Master Suite CES 2018. I want to say a big thank you to my sponsors, Enermax and CableMod. Stay tuned to the channel for more CES coverage, probably coming pretty soon.